Richard Sekar is founder and CEO of TVOutBack, a home-to-home personal server broadcasting company. Mr. Sekar has much experience in marketing and development, and he's here to kick off our TEDx event. So can we please get a warm welcome for Mr. Sekar?
Thank you and good morning. I'm glad to see that you're all awake and it's a Sunday morning. Thanks for coming over. Like Sandy said, I'm Richard Sekar, and there is a reason for me choosing this topic. Not only if it's a synergy where you all have to collaborate, but also I thought that when I was a kid, full of energy, I wanted somebody to share this kind of information with me. And at that time, there was no internet, nothing. Even though I look very young, still there was no internet, right? So, retiring at the age of 30s and 40s, I bet that many of you want to do that, at least want to be in a position to do that. And the key ingredient for this is you need to be a driver with a lot of energy. And I've been associated with this high school for quite some time, and I know that majority of you guys are driven and self-motivated students here. And this fits very nicely with you. There are many ways to achieve financial independence. You have heard of it a zillion times. What I'm going to talk about is one of the many ways with very specific things that you do to get where you want to get to. So it is a straightforward method. It is not like at a very high level people say, hey, you know what, go do this, do that. No, it's very straightforward. You follow 5 steps and there's a high probability that you're going to succeed. And knowing you guys and what you have done in the school, I can bet any day that you're all going to be very successful. A little bit of my background. I recently founded a company called TVOutBack, where we built a video server, personal video server, which allows you to broadcast directly from your computer to your friends and families, because uploading videos to other websites, sometimes it's not secure, especially if it involves kids. So you can actually broadcast your content directly from your home to others. And in the past, I have helped build many successful companies. Just remember that no one person builds anything. It is a collective effort. So I have been associated with very good people in my past, and we built many successful companies. Ikanos was one of the most recent ones. I joined them as a startup company. It's a chip company. And together we built a very successful company and took the company public. And prior to that, there was another startup called Copper Mountain Networks. I joined them in the early stages. And we built a very successful company again, took the company public. Going public is one of the major milestones. It's not the end of the company. It's a major milestone. For all of us, it's a key milestone, right? And prior to Copper Mountain, I used to be with a company called REC Communications, marketing the products, and the company got acquired for $24 billion by Lucent Technologies. So I've been around working with startup companies for quite some time. So that's one of the main reasons that I wanted to share with you guys my experience so you can benefit from it. People always say, hey, you have to be a risk taker, risk taker. What the heck is risk taking? We take risks every day. So here I'm going to talk about specific risk taking, which is joining startup companies. I always encourage all my friends and family members to go join startup companies, because there's risk, there is reward. This is very specific. If you want to have a 9-to-5 job, I think you should go join a government company. But I don't think you guys are cut out to be in that environment. You're all very energetic people. You want to succeed. You want to gather tribe. So you should go join startup companies. The reason there's risk in that is because startups don't have a lot of money, startups don't have a lot of resources. Right? It's like a race. Startups are running fast, they can sprint, but they are right in front of 800-pound gorillas running with a lot of money, a lot of resources. They can continue to run. So as a startup, what is going for you is you can run fast, you can sprint. When you sprint, you also grow and become an 800-pound gorilla, so that you are leading. But you are leading the pack, right? So that's what is going for you. But initially, you don't have a lot of money or resources. Agility is what you have. You have to do a lot of things at the same time. And people with energy and drive and motivation, they are the people who fit very well in a startup environment. And also, less than 2% of the startups succeed. That's the risk. In terms of job security, a long time ago, working for big companies, we used to have job security, and startups, no job security. These days, there's no job security, right? But remember, people who are hardworking, who are talented, who are motivated, they don't worry about job security. Because if they lose a job with one startup, they get picked up by another company very easily. So you don't have to worry about that. But there is some amount of risk because you don't have the backing of big company money and resources, right? Also, when you join a startup, you should be prepared to take less salary than if you are working for a big company. But you compensate that by getting more shares. Where you make money is when the company go IPO, you make money through the shares. And this is very, very practical. There are many times that I used to go to the company CEO and say, you know what, hey, as a startup, you need a lot of money. Take some of my money out of my salary, but give me more shares. Because I know I want to make my bread and butter. When the company goes IPO, I make my money, right? So those are things that are tied to the risk as well as reward. Here is a little bit of a simple graph as to how everything works. The risk versus the stage in which the company is in. For example, in the early stages when they don't have any money but just great ideas, bunch of good people, if you join them, you get tons of shares. But after the first round of funding, Series A funding, you join them, your risk factor goes down, but the number of shares that they will give you is a little bit less. And then second round of funding, and if you join a company close to IPO, then your risk factor goes way down, but the number of shares they'll give you will also be less. Makes sense, right? Higher the risk, higher the reward. And my comfort level had been after Series A funding, where there is money for your paycheck, that's a good time to join, or at least Series B. That way you'll get a lot of shares. So that gives you some idea. Again, taking risk in the context of this is joining startups. Remember that. Working hard, that is not new to any of you guys. I know how many hours you put in. However, when you start working and you want to be very successful, working hard means 60 to 80 hours a week. I'm telling you, as soon as you get the job, you do it for the first several years, you establish yourself. I remember the way I learned hard work was kind of a hard way. I was in the graduate school and my roommate was a hardworking guy. I was goofing around. I was getting 4.0 because my parents were keeping tab of me. I was just like you guys, 4.0. But my roommate, he had an office in the department. He would come to our apartment at 3 a.m. And at 5:30 a.m. he would be going back to school. I always wondered, here I am sitting, sleeping, goofing around, and this guy sleeps only 2 hours. I couldn't comprehend. His eyes were red all the time. And I noticed that The professors were thrilled to have this guy as a graduate student, and I envied that guy because I did not know he had to work that hard. But I learned a lesson from him, which is working hard means that's working hard, not just goofing around, right? So when I started to work for a company, I said, I'm going to put that into use. And I used to work 60, 70, 80 hours a week for many years. I noticed that suddenly everybody around me could not compete with me. Really? How do you compete with the guy who works 60, 70, 80 hours? Also in the early stages, you don't have family ties that much. You can afford to work as well. And that is hard work. When you join a startup, everybody works like that. And that's what is required to succeed. And you should be available day or night to take emails, text messages, all those things when you work for a startup. And that is working hard. This is very important. Remember I said no one person builds a successful company. It's a collaborative effort. Company is like a big ship, big boat. Everyone is a team member, everyone rows, and every company, every boat can have only one captain. What happens when you have more than one captain? It is not going to go anywhere. So your CEO is one captain. He makes a decision. Once a decision is made, everybody rows towards a destiny. Okay? This is where you collaborate. A lot of times people with big egos, they let the company down. You need to set aside the ego. What is important here is you work with everybody else in the company to achieve the goal. You have to work hard, you have to have ego, otherwise you won't be joining a startup, right? You have a lot to contribute, but at the same time, everybody's contribution make the company successful. So collaboration is very, very important. Also understand the company's goal. A lot of times people think, hey, I know better, so I'm going to go in a different direction. That's not good. You have a company goal, understand the goal, and everybody, it's like everybody pushing each other towards that goal. That's what makes a company successful. When the company succeeds, you succeed. So you have two options, either sink or sail. But when you work for a company and with everybody driving towards succeeding, sinking is not an option. You have to sail. That's the only option you think about, you plan for, you work towards. This is very important. You have to be very smart. I have come across people who could have made tons of money. They didn't sell the shares, and eventually what happened was they ended up with a big tax liability, lost cars, lost homes, all sorts of nightmares. Because they thought it's going to go on forever. It does not. You have to step back. They say don't drink your own Kool-Aid, right? Always be critical of yourself internally, right? But be an optimist, but be realistic as well. The first chance you get to make money by selling shares, make money. That would be my recommendation. Don't be too greedy, okay? See, you have to have some amount of greed, but too much greediness leads to unethical, illegal activities. Remember that. Remember I said that. So, contain yourself. You have to have greed. We all have greed. That's the driving factor, that's a motivating factor. But too much greed gets you in trouble. And most importantly, remember that in the early stages, whenever you can make money by selling shares, just keep making money. Okay? This is, now you have to be very responsible. You made your money. What do? Do you retire? Remember earlier I said you should be in a position to retire, not necessarily you want to retire. So that's a good position to be in. When do you retire? I have had many good bosses throughout my career, and I went to one of my bosses who was talking about retiring, and I said, hey, can you tell me how do you know you're ready to retire? And his definition stuck with me for a long time, and it was very useful. I'm going to share it with you guys. He said, Richard, you should be able to sustain the same lifestyle the day after retirement as you did the day before retirement. Makes sense, right? If you had a certain lifestyle and after retirement, you should be able to sustain that with the money you made. That's the good measure to retire. The moment you make money, there are a lot of geniuses who will be contacting you saying, hey, I'll manage your money. Watch out. Watch out. It's a hard-earned money, right? You didn't win a lottery. That's the reason a lot of people who win lottery go bankrupt, because it's not a hard-earned money. But when you make that kind of money, what you do is you watch it closely, you manage it. Every dollar counts. Be wise about it. And while you are enjoying your success, make sure that you are also compassionate to others. Remember, you or nobody builds the company all by themselves. The success you achieve will be contributed by others as well, all your team members. So it is important that you give back to your community. So be compassionate. One of my favorite people is Bill Gates. I never met him, but not only he made money, but he donates billions of dollars. It requires a big heart. And he is one of my role models, so to speak. So when you are successful, make sure that you help others as well. So to summarize, we know what it means to taking risks, joining startups. Like I said, this is one of the ways with a high probability of success, right? There are many other ways of making money, and I'm not an expert in any of those. But I can share some of this experience with you guys. Hard work, 60 to 80 hours. If somebody says working hard and, oh my God, I work for 45 hours, I worked very hard. That's not working hard, right? 60 to 80 hours. Just remember those numbers. You need to collaborate. Only when you all row the boat together in unison, you will get to where you want to get to. Otherwise, the boat is not going to go anywhere. When the company wins, you win. Not the other way around. When the company wins, your team wins. Everybody wins. Everybody prospers. So just remember that statement. You have to be smart. As soon as you get a chance, sell your shares. Take the money and invest in something else. Be responsible. Take care of your community. Help your community. That's what the schools are helping you, right? This is a public school. Somebody is helping you. So when you become successful, you help somebody else. And looking at all of you guys, I am sure that years to come, majority of you are going to be very, very, very successful. And with that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you.